Hello everybody, my name is Marlo. Today I'm going to show you how to transform a regular old Minecraft cave into your survival base. First things first, we need to locate ourselves a cave to start building in. Now you could probably do this for literally any space underground, but there are a couple of specifications that will make this easier. One of which is to make sure you actually have enough room to fit everything inside that you would need in a survival world. Another is to try and find something at a dead end, so there is only one way in and one way out. But you can always force a dead end by placing some blocks to cover up parts of the cave. The last thing, which really isn't needed at all, I just quite like how these type of caves look, is to find one that is of a circular shape. Just like this one right here. It's big enough, it's a dead end, and it's kinda circular. But as I said, you can make this work for pretty much any cave whatsoever, so don't worry about it too much. The first thing we're going to do here is remove all of the blocks that are not stone, so the dirt, the coal ore, the diorite and anything else that you have on show, and actually replace it with some smooth stone itself. That way we have a nice blank canvas to start building on. Now we have something a little like this, a lot cleaner and easier to work with in my opinion. So the next step is to grab even more stone, and we just want to shape this cave a little bit, because this one right here, for example, it looks awfully man-made because of how it's been generated. It's very symmetrical and we don't really want that. So just as an example here, we're just going to place a couple of blocks and try and mess it up a little bit, make it not look quite as symmetrical as it did before, and just by placing a couple of those in right there, it already looks better. So once you've got that done, you then just want to fill in any gaps. So this right here, for example, maybe just bring this in a little bit, something like that, and we're basically just getting the shape of our cave all in place. So do that until you have something you're happy with. I'm just thinking right now, this is quite a flat ceiling, maybe we take out some of these blocks up here. Next up, we want to add in some texture variation and make this cave look not as smooth as it does right now, and we're going to do that using some cobblestone and andesite with the slabs and stairs included, some gravel and then stone stairs and slabs. And really all we're trying to do with this is smooth it out with the slabs and the stairs, and then just add in texture with the full blocks. So if we just take this little area as an example, we can replace a few of these full blocks here with the cobblestone, the andesite and the gravel. Obviously with the gravel you can't place it on the ceiling because it's affected by gravity, so just go careful with that one. But yeah, add in some of your full blocks and then you can get your slabs and stairs and just try and smooth it out a little bit and not have some sharp edges like everything is here. That is what slabs and stairs are great for. So yeah, just chuck these in as much or as little as you want. That right there is a pretty good example of what we're going to do with the entire cave. Once you've got all of that done, we then want to grab our cobblestone and andesite walls and add in some stalactites. And what we don't want to do with this is place it next to a full block and have it connect to the side like that. We instead want to place it next to a stair or a slab so that we get this straight pillar downwards. And I'd recommend maybe placing the andesite walls underneath some andesite and the cobble underneath some cobblestone, just to make it look a bit more natural that way. But yeah, just add in as many or as little of these as you want, and you should end up with something that looks like that, which in my opinion looks pretty cool. Before we go any further, we need to do something about the lighting situation here, because these torches are not going to be permanent. We're instead going to be using some lanterns hanging from some chains, and all we really want to do here is just hang them down at varying Y levels. So maybe sometimes have just a single chain or sometimes have a double. Just make sure the lanterns kind of go up and down as you look around the room. But do make sure once you've got rid of all of your torches, as we'll just do here, and get up our F3 screen, that you actually have all of the block levels here. So this number, we need it to not be 7, otherwise a mob is going to be able to spawn there. So as long as it's 8 or above, you should be all good. But yeah, just do a couple of laps around your cave, make sure you have all of the light levels. So you can see we could probably do one with over here, just like that, and we don't want any mob spawning, so definitely make sure you have enough light inside of your cave. Let's add in the storage for this cave base, shall we? So what I'm going to be doing is just grabbing my chests and barrels and picking a section of the cave here where I want to just make a big stack of them. Just like that. Now this may not be to everybody's liking, it's a bit of a messy way to organize your items, so if you prefer to have something that has some more structure, maybe what I would recommend doing is just breaking some of these blocks in the walls and placing some barrels. I think something like that could look pretty good. I, however, have some other plans for these wall sections right here. One of them is going to hold all of our furnaces. So what we can actually do is pick this side right here, and we kind of want this to be symmetrical, or at least I do. So I'm going to break 2 blocks there. That way it's 5 wide instead of 4 wide, and we can go ahead and break all of those right there. And then we'll just put some furnaces either side with a smoker and a blast furnace in the middle there. And as you can see, we got some blocks creeping over right there, which isn't necessarily a bad thing. We can actually roll with that a little bit, and maybe we'll put a cobblestone stair here and then just an andesite slab underneath that one right there. So it doesn't matter if you cover up a little bit, it honestly looks quite good having those furnaces indented back into the wall there with a few blocks just in front. We can also do a similar thing over on the other side here with all of our crafting blocks, so one of which is of course the crafting table. We need one of those, loom, cartographer table, fletching table and smithing table, and then we have one final spot where maybe we can just place a barrel in like so. Obviously we're going to need a bed in our cave, and I think a good spot for mine would be right here. So I'm going to put my bed down right there and just enclose it with some spruce stairs and slabs either side, and just behind it here up on the ledge we can have a nice little flower pot and then display a clock inside of an item frame. That way you can see if it's safe to go outside or not. An enchanting station is always very helpful, so I think the best place for mine is actually going to be somewhat in the center of the cave here within the floor. So if I just line myself up with as much as possible and make a little 3x3 hole here, and that can be where the enchanting table goes, and then we'll just put 16 bookshelves in total. We actually only need 15, but just to make it simple, we're just going to put 16 in total, so that's 3 on each side and then 4 in the corners. You could actually just break one of these and replace it with an oak plank if you're doing what I'm doing here, but yeah, I would say that's a nice spot for some enchanting. I've just thought something that could be pretty cool and also helpful is if we place some barrels on the bottom of this floor right here. And I actually like to do mine upside down sometimes so we get this texture on the bottom. So yeah, I'd say we remove all of these blocks and replace them with barrels. Yeah, I would say that looks pretty cool, and also lots of storage for lapis or just an extension of our storage over here. There are some other blocks that are pretty helpful in survival, such as the grindstone, anvil and stonecutter, and we're going to make their own little section over here. So we'll stick our stonecutter there, anvil and grindstone right there, and we're going to kind of block these off using some iron bars, because this is all quite dangerous stuff over here, especially that very sharp blade. You don't want to be fumbling around with your blocks over here and accidentally fall and sit on that. That would be painful. So we're just going to shut them off with some iron bars and kind of enclose that little area just like that. And we can also, a little detail is just get some stone buttons and place them around the stone cutter here, like there's been some debris from when you've been cutting up some stone. The next thing we're going to add in is a little brewing station, which doesn't take up a whole lot of room, so I think this corner would nestle it in quite nicely. And we're going to place our cauldron with a barrel and a brewing stand on top, just like so. We can go ahead, fill our cauldron up with water, but obviously that's going to run out pretty quickly. It's only got a few uses before it needs to be refilled, so that's when we can get pretty clever with a infinite water source. So if we just take this section right here and carve out a 2x2 hole and then make our infinite water, you can see it just keeps refilling forever and ever. We can go ahead and place the blocks that were there before, so we had a cobble here and a stone here, but as the stair variants, and as you can see we can still refill our water because they have been waterlogged under there. So that's just a clever way to hide some infinite water, and you can keep refilling your cauldron or just get bottles straight from these 2 blocks. The final survival related thing we have left to add in to our cave down here is actually a food source, and I'm going to make a little potato farm over here. Not anything, you know, redstone related. You could do a micro farm of sorts and just stick it in the wall, but I think a little potato field is going to look quite cool down here. So what we can actually do is just make a little bit of a waterfall coming down from the surface level. So if we just dig up by a few blocks and make sure you have somewhere for the water to actually flow into, otherwise you're going to flood away some of the things you've done here, and maybe even replace that with a stone stair and waterlog it. So that way it looks like you've got some water source coming down, flowing into the cave from the surface level up there. So we have our water that is going to be able to hydrate some dirt around it. So maybe if we just replace a few of these blocks with some dirt, maybe, I'm not sure how much of this we should do, just a tiny little thing like that. Obviously you could make it a bit bigger if you wanted to, and then we can go ahead and hoe all of that land, and as you can see, that is hydrating all of the soil here. On top of that, we can place our potatoes or carrots or wheat or even beetroot if you wanted to. But yeah, we just got a little potato field which fills in that corner quite nicely. Before we do the very final step, what I'm going to get you to do is just take another lap around your cave here and make sure you have all of your light levels, because I've noticed that I've dug down these blocks here. This one is actually a 7, so I'm going to need some sort of lighting hanging down from the ceiling. Maybe we can even do a triple one right here. We won't bang our head on that, so it's all good. And as you can see, we're over light level 7. So yeah, just do a double check and make sure you've got all of those. I'm actually going to bring that up by 1 like that. Awesome. So the final thing to do is to add in a couple of leaves around to make it look a bit overgrown. Maybe something is, you know, growing down from the surface level. And to do that, we're simply going to just place some leaves all over the walls here. Maybe some of them we replace some blocks, but do bring some stone along or something just to place behind it like so. So don't go over the top with this. Maybe just do a little bit here and there. It's entirely up to you really. But yeah, just add in a couple of leaves to make it look somewhat overgrown. And just like that, our survival cave base is fully complete, except from one final thing which I'm not actually going to add in, and that is a nether portal. You could always add a nether portal somewhere in one of these walls, but they're pretty noisy, so maybe just put it somewhere else in another cave nearby. And that, everybody, is the tutorial all done. I really hope this has helped you out if you were looking for this sort of thing. Thank you so much for watching. I really hope you enjoyed, and I will see you in the next video. Bye for now.